encouraging a qualified workforce is.
Now, while the judges deliberate and decide on a winner from these wonderful young people. You have another speech? Oh my gosh. Guess what? There's another speech. Stay tuned. I am so sorry. I got it mixed up.
Okay, I'd just like to touch on something quick that in a comment in that previous question. First of all, look at how the growth plan is not only going to be creating the high-tech employment, but also look at all the different agencies that are going to have to come along with that. Every business is going to be needing the clerks, the janitorial services, etc., the foundation that makes up these businesses. So it is going to be bringing in that broader base of workforce. But first main point of analysis is showing that we are not just talking about where we should be investing this money. The discussion of the debate centers around whether or not we should be passing this growth plan by the EDC, because if it is going to be increasing our economic prosperity, this is the main objective here, and the affirmative has proven in a list of 6 or 7 cities that a plan similar to this has been statistically proven to be increasing the economic well-being in any city, whether it is on a Jamestown Valley City level or on the Fargo, Albuquerque, Sioux Falls, Madison, Wisconsin. Next of all, let's talk about poverty and get some responses here. First of all, high-paid individuals and the large companies will be able to be giving back more money to the community. Philanthropy, basically. They'll be making these large charitable donations to nonprofit organizations. This is going to be inspiring greater turnout in helping the lower income brackets. Second, look at how tax money from the companies and the employees will inevitably be generated to be creating that larger tax base, and used to be help with welfare. If we were going to be specifically talking about welfare tonight, we would be creating a separate sales tax for that. However, that is not a part of the discussion. We're looking at basically only the high-tech area of Fargo and what the benefits can be to this. I remind you that this tax and sales tax is going to be expiring in 2020, that it is going to be only having a meager impact on all different income levels. Second of all, let's touch on these environmental concerns and how the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United States is showing that the irony is such that these technologies can make food safer and benefit the environment while ensuring the hungriest are fed. We are opening a magic door, and the positive impacts are clear. These newly developed chemicals that NDSU will be producing is a factor within the environmental, physical, and biological sciences that we will be researching. Fourth and finally, it's part of the growth plan to be keeping our young people in the area. And the way to do this, and the negative has said it themselves, is that we have to be creating the high-paying jobs. They said that the reason people are not staying is because for the lack of high-paying jobs, however, not because of poor education. People will stay if the salaries increase. Again, look to the other cities that have increased their economies and subsequently increased their wages and are creating more and more employment. With that, once again, the growth plan is a must for our FM community.
Okay, today we're first going to look at some of the major problems with the growth plan, and then we're going to examine the better solution. First, let's look at some of the problems. The first real major problem with the growth plan is the fact that it is simply unreliable. According to Business Week, as we've discussed today, most business incubation programs fail within 5 to 10 years. Now, this is the business incubation program itself. Now, if the program survives and produces companies, these companies have a great history of leaving, outsourcing, or simply to other areas with a higher economic growth. We're in North Dakota, we're a small town, and it's not necessarily a great place to start a business. Also, they have a history of going to other areas. Now, another thing is, this is basing it solely on high-tech industry. Now, if we base our economy solely on this high-tech industry, if these businesses leave or the high-tech industry declines, our community will be devastated. So what we have to see here is that these business incubation programs are simply unreliable and we cannot rely on them. Now, the next thing we need to look at is the problem of inequity. This tax is mainly burdening the middle and lower class. Now, this is not to say that it is a horrible regressive tax. What we're saying here is that this plan is going to put a proportionally larger burden on the middle and lower class. Now, our economy has been booming, and the upper class has not necessarily provided the help that the lower classes need. Now, if this only benefits the top segment, there is no reason for the rest of us to be spending on it. This ties high-wage jobs to technology, which is a highly discriminatory industry, increasing inequity there. Now, too many corporations of the same type in our community will also increase pollution as we have in Silicon Valley. Now let's look at the major solution here. This is increasing and investing directly in education. What we have to recognize is this plan is putting no money into education, but it recognizes the importance. It says in the plan, as a community, it is our responsibility to better prepare young people for the type of jobs that the economy they live in will demand and reward. So it says education is important, and then it says we propose investing no public funds in this area. Now, we need to spend this money on an area that will increase equity, an area where the benefits will be felt by all classes, by all races, and by both genders. A qualified workforce is the major attractor of high-wage jobs, and when we have this qualified workforce here, we are going to attract high-wage jobs. Most companies say that they are outsourcing because of the lack of education. Now, once we have this increased education and the increased workforce staying here, we are going to be able to have an equitable system that will have a diverse spectrum of jobs, that will not increase pollution, and that will be reliable.
Now I think they're really done, and the judges are going to deliberate and declare a winner. And I want to remind everyone that we'd love to have your straw poll vote. If you could fill that out. There's a box, I believe, by the door over here. And we thank you for coming, and we do invite you to stay if you want to hear the judges' assessments and determination of who's the winner. Thank you.